It was simply that she was my only living relative. We were stuck with each other, and we had to make the best of it. But raise me she did, in her own helter-skelter fashion, to the horror of my trustee, Mr. Dwight Babcock of the Knickerbocker Trust Company, to the horror of the masters at St. Boniface Academy in Apathy, Massachusetts, where Mr. Babcock finally put me, after Auntie Mame's forays into progressive education, and sometimes even to the horror of me. We lived in many places together, Auntie Mame and I. We lived in a duplex in Beekman Place during the 20s, when Auntie Mame was still Miss Dennis, still rich, and still in her Japanese phase. We lived in a carriage house in Murray Hill during the Depression, before Auntie Mame found love and marriage, and even more riches as Mrs. Beauregard Jackson Pickett Burnside. For a while we lived on a plantation in Georgia with Uncle Beau. Then, when Auntie Mame became the 9th richest widow in New York, we lived in a big townhouse in Washington Square. We also lived in various other places around the world until I grew up and got married. After that, Auntie Mame's address, whenever she stayed still long enough to have one, was the St. Regis Hotel. Today, I don't know where Auntie Mame is living. I wish I did, because that's where my son Michael is living too, assuming, of course, that the boy is still alive. But, as unorthodox and eccentric, her detractors have even used such adjectives as depraved and lunatic, as Auntie Mame's methods of child care may have been, I don't think that any of the unusual things she did ever hurt me. This, however, is not the opinion of my wife, Pegeen. When I got home to Verdant Greens last night, Pegeen was waiting at the door. "Chilly out, dear," I said, kissing her. "Anything in the mail? I mean, like, especially terrible Christmas cards?" Pegeen knew perfectly well what I meant and went on to say so. "I know perfectly well what you mean. You mean, is there some word from our child, or from that mad woman who carried him off? And the answer is no, just as it's been every day for the last 4 months. No, no, no. My God, Patrick, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't even think, worrying about my baby in the hands of that old maniac. For all we know, poor little Michael may be dead and buried." "Oh, I scarcely think so. We'd have heard, surely." "Heard? What have we heard? 6 cables, a few miserable scribbled postcards, the Taj Mahal, a bathhouse in Tokyo, a lamasery in Tibet, an apartment house in Tel Aviv that looked like a dresser with all the drawers open, the Istanbul Hilton, the Mozart Festival, animation sur la plage from Cap d'Antibes. Those and about a dozen more, and not one word about our child, in 2.5 years. Well, that's not quite true, Pegeen. Both Michael and Auntie Mame have been very good about remembering our birthdays, our anniversary, Christmas, and very handsomely, too. I still wear that mandarin. Christmas! How can you say the word? This will be our 3rd Christmas without a child in the house. Don't you think everyone in Verdant Greens is talking? I'm certain they're talking, but it's rarely interesting enough to... That boy's almost 10 years old. I haven't seen him since he was 7. He'll never be a Cub Scout, and I'll never be a den mother." "Not if I have anything to say about it, you won't." "Well, I grant that it sounds dismal, but think of the other things our baby is missing. Proper schooling, the companionship of children his own age, sports, Sunday school, Christmas." "Nonsense," I said, trying to be as bland and offhand as possible, because I was just as worried about Auntie Mame and Michael as Pegeen, only I didn't want her to know it. As Auntie Mame always said, I could learn more in 10 minutes in her drawing room than I could in 10 years at school. She was right, too. I saw more of children my own age than I wanted to. As for Christmas, she gave me some damn nice things." "Such as what?" All I could remember, offhand, was a list of items that would hardly have comforted a worried mother. A live alligator, a samurai sword, a chimpanzee that promptly died, and a lifetime course at Arthur Murray's. "Oh, nothing, just some very nice things." "But don't you realize that she's simply stolen our child away from us? If he were to march into this room right now, he wouldn't recognize his own parents. Oh, I know her game. I'm a woman, too. She plans to take over our child entirely, to twist him around her finger, to teach him life on her terms. Life as Mame Dennis Burnside sees it, so that he'll end up just as scatterbrained."